This is a download from the outdoorstation.co.uk. Number 392.
You're listening to the 2015 TGO Challenge, sponsored by the Great Outdoors magazine, Handbag Footwear and Fjällräven. Part 4. The Great Outdoors Challenge is an annual self-supported walking event across the Highlands of Scotland, West Coast to East Coast. First held in 1980, it's a non-competitive test of backcountry skills, navigation and stamina. The challenge is held every May. Every challenger starts their hike by signing out from one of around a dozen locations on the west coast, strung between Torridon in the north and Ardrishaig in the south. And your journey will end when you reach the eastern seaboard between Fraserburgh and Arbroath. Between those chosen points in the months prior, you'll plan your own routes, which will be checked by experienced vetters. You can plan a high or low-level route, or one that blends both. That flexibility, combined with the vast and varied geographical area available, is one of the challenge's unique attractions. Many challengers return year after year. Some plan entirely new routes, some repeat favourite sections. You're free to choose. The challenge is a backpacking event. You'll need to carry everything on your back, including food and shelter, but it's up to you whether you camp all the way across or use a mixture of camping, hostels and B&Bs. The extraordinary hospitality offered by many establishments has become legendary over the event's 30-plus years. The challenge demands a good level of competence in navigation, survival techniques, campcraft and general hillcraft. It's also renowned for its sociability and camaraderie, and you'll always find fellow challengers willing to help in any way they can. The event is restricted to 300 participants, and entry forms can be found in the October issue of the Great Outdoors magazine every year.
Well, Wednesday morning, 13th of May, 2015, and thankfully the weather eased off. You heard what it was like last night, and it was horrendous from a wind point of view. We left the people down at Stone Larrig thinking that was windy down there, we'll be out the wind if we go up the gully. I don't know whether we made a mistake or not, but we've spoken to a couple of people, David and Graham, who said it wasn't too bad. So I don't know where we went wrong, really. It was too windy to cook. That was the unfortunate thing. So we shared a fantastic meal of cold cheese and onion pasty, some biscuits, and the pasty was dreadful. I tell you, if you've want a business idea, open a bakery in Fort Augustus. I don't think there's a bakery there. It really needs a bakery. Fresh bread, fresh pasties, fresh rolls. You would make a fortune. Because there's just nothing there, is there?
No, it's all Londis instant
pap.
Yeah.
Pap. As you can tell from the fact that we're standing here doing the recording, the weather is a lot better. As a tip for anybody coming up Glenmarkey, the climb initially is pretty tough going, and then it sort of levels out. The first sort of beach area you get to, there's a few nice pitches there, which if you're tired like we were, you sort of take. But if you get to the ruin that's marked on the map and thereabouts, from there onwards, up Glenmarkey, the camping is sensational. The walking's pretty good too. It's fairly easy, undulating, soft grass walking at the moment, but we haven't actually made it to the gully just yet before we go over the top and try and pick the track up on the other side. The forecast today, as last time we heard about it, yesterday, day before, was it's going to be brighter and more cheerful. Well, it's certainly not blowing as hard and it's not as cold and it isn't raining, but it is mizzling a bit. But it's not too bad on the whole. Looking back down the glen, we can see the snow-topped mountains of where we've been, of the Monalier. So, yeah, not too bad. What do you think about this morning?
Yeah, no, it's good. Last night we did keep all our kit on and bags packed just in case we had to make a swift exit. But after about an hour and a half, we decided it was going to be okay. You put some rocks on the pegs as well, just to make sure.
Yeah, we put the rocks on the pegs, and I used some of the walking poles to actually sort of reinforce the support for the front pole of the Power Lizard, because it was flexing in the wind, which was a bit frightening. But I can see David and Graham just joining us now, following in our path around the edge of the stream here, and no doubt we'll carry on walking with them for the next half hour or so as we go over the top. So more later, but so far not too bad. But that venison stew I was looking forward to last night, I am definitely going to be looking forward to tonight.
Sounds like a plan. And then that's the Burma Road, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. But, I can import it up and make it right. Well, we've made it to Dalbeg, which isn't a bothy, sadly, at 1:20. We set off this morning at 8:30-ish. Yeah, 8:30. Lovely day's walking. Beautiful.
Brilliant. Actually, beautiful. Really, really easy walking. No steep inclines or declines, just a bit skipping over streams and boggy bits. But
And bits of snow.
it's lovely.
But the weather's cool, a little bit of blue sky, slight breeze, but compared to yesterday, absolute breeze,
Delight.
really. Yeah. And we were very fortunate. We saw a brace of eagles flying.
Do you call it a brace?
Yes, a brace of birds, brace of pheasants, isn't it?
Oh, I suppose so. Yeah. Okay.
Can I carry on?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. A brace of pheasants. I've got pheasants on the brain now. Eagles soaring, weren't they? Obviously out hunting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're eagles. They were so big, and I've never seen buzzards up here, to be honest.
I don't think it's buzzards. It was, you could see from the fan of the tails it was
And the
an
way
eagle. But it's huge.
they moved, yeah.
They are big.
Beautiful. So
Absolutely.
we just sat and watched them for a while, didn't we?
Yeah, a very rare sight. But Rose was very keen that we should have a moment and do nature watch. So I'm going to hand over to Rose, and she's going to detail all the animals and the flora and the fauna we've seen on the way, because she thinks podcast listeners want to hear it.
Well, I think maybe some of them do. The daffs were still out. They'd finished in Glenelg, but as we went in, there was still a few daffs about. Lots of primroses and violets, wood anemones, lots of wood sorrel to eke out, if you're a forager, eke out your evening meal.
A few ramsons, quite a few ramsons.
Yeah, some wild garlic. I forgot what I was going to say. Lady's mantle, wood anemone. So quite a few of the sort of flowers you'd expect to see. Trees are the usual larch and Scots pine and birch, lots of birch, as you'd expect. Obviously, lost all those since we hit them monolea. But we did see our hare. I'm glad to see we saw a mountain hare.
I've seen a couple, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of hares.
Okay. And
Don't you remember you were jumping up and down, shouting the name and making everybody stop and go, what the heck is she on about?
well, it was worth seeing. And lots of rabbits we saw down at Fort Augustus.
The Fort Augustus, they've got that timeshare, Highland Park or whatever they call it, overlooking the Loch Ness. Glorious. And yet, if you come out at the right time, it's got about 100 rabbits on the garden, which...
Grazing it, keeping it very short. Yeah. All sizes.
Fresh meat.
Tiny little ones to big ones, yeah.
So we've stopped and we are, as you can probably hear in the background, the gas is going and it's a nice enough day to actually just stop and have a decent brew. So we're going to rustle up some tomato soup and some couscous, and that will see us through to wherever we end up, really, which we're heading toward the Burma Road, which is the back road that goes into Aviemore, and we're seeing how far we can get today. But if this weather condition stays the way it is and we have such good route underfoot, I think we'll get quite a distance today.
We want to make the most of it, really, don't we? Because we don't know what the weather will be tomorrow, and it'd be nice to get into Aviemore early. I've got washing to do.
Yes, woman, you've got jobs to do.
Jobs to do.
Good. Okay, well, we'll sit and enjoy the view. The rest of the guys probably about half an hour behind us, so they'll probably be along shortly. And
There is a building here at Dalbeg. It looks really nice coming towards you. You think, oh, great, we'll be able to go out, but it's all padlocked up. Nicely kept, maintained, painted, but locked. So we sat on the doorstep.
yeah, as one does. Let me in. Let me in.
Hello, well, it's Wednesday evening. After another long day walking, in 11 hours or so, I've ended up in the new bunkhouse at Dalwhinnie, which is a very pleasant place. We've just had a lovely meal with a few challenges there, and almost is worth coming through Dalwhinnie for. It's very good. Food is very good. Anyway, today's walk was kind of quite interesting. I left Ossian about 8 o'clock. Climbed up to the Bielach between Ben Alder and its neighbours. And I knew a lot of construction work was going on there, so I had a good look at the notice boards and had a chat to some of the staff that were working on it. And the estate are putting in 3 new hydroelectric plants, and they seem to be doing them very courteously. Detours for walkers are, well signposted, and they make the point that they will put the land back into its original condition when they've finished. So from there, it was a long climb up to the Bielach. Now, I've done this walk before. I think it probably took me almost an hour longer than last time, simply because of the saturated nature of the ground again, where there's just mud everywhere. And then the last clamber onto the Bielach takes you straight down normally to Culwer Bothy. But actually there was a massive snowfall on the Bielach itself, which involved a bit of a climb to detour, and then coming down the descent on the other side, there was another big snowfield, which I started to cross, and my feet went through. So I decided to skirt around the edge as best I could, taking a steep little contour and then sliding down on my backside back to the path at the end. And then after I'd done that, I saw the first other walker I'd seen in 2 days, Harry from Newcastle, who walked across the said snowfall without any mishaps. So there you go. I kind of lost Harry on the way down, and by the time I got down to the plain, which houses Culwer Bothy and Loch Pattock, the sun came out. It was the most glorious afternoon, and that landscape there is perhaps my favourite in all of Scotland. It's just absolutely magic and majestic. So nice was it that I took a load of photographs, had a couple of long extended breaks, just looking out over the snow-topped mountains, the sunshine, the lakes, or lochs, with not a soul in sight. It was fantastic. And then basically ambled on down along the long path to Dalwhinnie, and reaching here about 7 o'clock this evening. So all in all, another long day, but a much better one. The weather hopefully has turned, and it was just a joy today to be walking in glorious sunshine. So the only problem I've had so far is my new shoes, which are Brooks Cascadias, of which I'm very happy. I'm beginning to think the tread doesn't work as well in mud as the Innovates, so I've been slipping and sliding like mad. And Humphrey has just informed me that our itinerary for the next day involves walking through a lot of waterfalls, which, given the number of slips and falls I've had in the last 2 days, I'm not going to risk. So we'll probably change our route tomorrow. We were going to skirt Braemar to the south, going up over Loch Nagar and then dropping down into Ballater, but that's looking increasingly likely because there's so much snow on the mountains and so much water on the ground. Covering the last 2 days, which are walks I've done before, I reckon I'm probably an hour and a half slower this time, and I think it's down to literally the waterlogged nature of the paths, and you just have to take so much care with your footing. Anyway, but let's hope the sun shines tomorrow, and I shall report to you from, well, who knows where, because we're not quite sure where we're going tomorrow. But there you go, that's all part of the excitement.
To subscribe to our show, please follow the instructions on our website or search for us in the iTunes directory.
So, 7:30, we found a lovely pitch, and we have got the curry in the pot cosy. So we thought we'd just take a couple of minutes just to review where we've been today. And actually, now we've opened the map out, we're both pretty impressed. We've done at least 25k today, probably more, but using the rule of thumb and literally using a thumb as a guess, on a map that keeps rolling back. Can't quite tell. But let us review the day's walking, because if you're ever in this area, this would be information worth knowing. So we started down at Glenmarkey, and that was a lovely walk going up the glen. As I think I mentioned earlier on, there's lovely camping spots from the ruin that's marked onwards. That's the best camping spots, but you can camp before that. We got over the top of there.
There's not a path as such. There is a deer track, but there's not a path as such, so you do have to pick your way. But it was pleasurable.
It was pleasurable walking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was no bogs and
there were a few, but
heather bashing. Yeah, but I mean, it's from what we've done so far.
Oh yeah, no. It was really, and a beautiful glen.
Then where do we go then? What's the name of that there?
River Erskine.
So we went.
Waterfall.
So we went over the top and down River Erskine past the waterfall. That was a Land Rover track. That was fairly easy going. So we chomped down there quite nicely, and got down to Dalbeg, which is a nice little hut that's there. Not a bothy by the looks of it, but as it wasn't opened, but it was a beautifully well maintained hut. So we sat there in the sunshine, had a bit of lunch. Met a few of the guys that came through. A small
did a wildlife
Scots party. We did the wildlife, and you forgot to mention
lots of deer. We've seen lots of deer.
Deer as well.
And also the guys said that they didn't think it was an eagle, and actually it was a bit, perhaps not quite as big as the one.
It was
seen
big,
before.
yeah.
So they thought it was an osprey. Also seen lots of swallows.
And they make a noise all night long.
Yeah, we were surprised last night.
I mean, they must be catching bugs all night long. So we continued down there, and we kept going down to... Now, we can't pronounce this one. Go on, give it your best shot.
Coignafern Lodge.
There you go. Coignafern Lodge, that'll do. And there's a junction there where the track pulls off there, and that goes up the
Elric
Burn. So we worked our way up there. We were walking with Robin Evans, which helped pass the time, having a chat. Got to the little junction along the burn there, where you have to take a bearing and walk 5k basically across the top of the Mona Lea. And it is the Mona Lea, we have to remember that. So of course it was boggy.
Yeah, I mean the theory was that if you follow the river, you don't meet so many peat hags because there's always a bit of green grass at the side of the burn. Apparently this is Alan Sloman's great wisdom for the Mona Lea. However, there was a lot of snow, and so the snow was completely covering the burn, so you couldn't even get near it without the fear of it collapsing under your feet.
Yes, the snow bridge fear was quite high because there was a lot of snow. So we had to work our way around it, and it became a very long 5 kilometres with going
Heather
up down
bashing.
peak hags and heather bashing, which is what I know always makes me think of the Mona Lea. But we eventually got down to a couple of little bothies, one of which looks like a garden shed, and the other one is a very, very upmarket, octagonal gentleman's residence, really, isn't it?
Yes, it is. What did Robin describe?
Hagrid's house.
Cottage. It's sort of, hexagonal with a wonderful...
expensive wood burner
in the middle.
But it's far too posh for us.
Yes.
No, we must go back to the...
I was quite surprised it was open, actually.
Yeah.
Because there's wood there as well.
Well, I mean, I suppose in these conditions you would need to think of safety. So we finally pulled on to...
River Dulnane.
Dulnane, right. So at the beginning of the River Dulnane...
Really pretty.
And we're started to walk down that, and to be honest, come sort of 6:30ish, after an 8:30 start, we've said we've had enough. And we found a lovely little spot where we're watching the sun go down. The sun has nicely dried out our slightly damp tent from the storm last night, and we will of course be in direct line for the sunrise tomorrow morning, which is lovely. So we're looking forward to a nice, gentle start tomorrow. And it looks like we've got to pull about 20k, I think, to get into Aviemore. And we'll make a decision tomorrow whether we sort of cut across a bit and take the ridge walk, or we continue all the way down to the bottom of the Burma Road. The ridge walk would actually meet the Burma Road halfway along, which would make things a little bit more interesting. So that is basically it. And although I'm tired, I'm not absolutely whacked like I was the first few days. How about you?
Well, perhaps it's the heat. It's been cool, hasn't it? It's been the sun's come out this afternoon, but it's been a coolness from the snow.
Well, I like to think we've got fit.
Oh yeah,
We've got our mountain legs back on.
You've got hill fit again.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool.
All right. Right, I think the curry's calling, so that is Wednesday over and done. I'll have a chat with you tomorrow.
What a difference 24 hours makes.
Yeah,
compared
absolutely.
to last night.
Last night we were holding the tent down. There you go, such is life. Good morning. It is a lovely, lovely Thursday morning on day 7 as we set off from our sweet little camping spot last night alongside the river Dolnain, heading down towards the Red Bothy, or what's known as the Red Bothy, before turning up the Burma Road, the track that takes you to Aviemore. There is another route which we'll consider when we get close to it, which might take in a ridge walk, but it really depends on weather conditions and what it's like underfoot when we get to that area. We were promised a lovely walk today, and sure enough, Robin didn't lie. It's very, very pleasant walking alongside the river. Little beaches, a lot of landfall where the land has cascaded down and created little areas of interest to climb up and over, or tiptoe around the actual edge of the rocks as if you're at the beach. But what makes it more enjoyable is, of course, the weather is lovely. There's a cool breeze, fairly blue skies, a few clouds, nice sunshine, perfect May springtime walking weather.
I thought you were going to say perfect because you're with me.
I knew I'd put my foot in it somewhere along the line. I hesitated at that moment and I thought, shall I say that? No, it sounds corny. You know it's true, sweetheart.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it.
But truly a lovely morning though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Lots of bird song and...
Not many bugs, actually.
No.
Although, talking of which,
Quite a few pond skaters.
certainly been bitten a lot more this year than ever before. Feet and legs seem to have had lots of bites. I'm not sure what from.
I think that was when it was hot in the first couple of days, actually.
And the bugs were out.
The bugs were out.
We've had one tick. Good old Ticky Rose got one tick. Right slap bang in the back of her neck. And otherwise, we haven't really had time to sort of sit and have a good long chat with anybody. We sort of kept going kept the speed up and kept the yomp going and covered quite a few miles.
Two of the lads who were at the body last night as we came past this morning as we were packing up, and they said they went in the posh lodge.
Oh yes, this is the one we mentioned last night. There was the gardener's shed with graffiti and scrawl inside it, and there was Hagrid's Hall, which was a beautifully made octagonal building with a very nice Swedish stove in there, and I do believe they use the facilities.
We believe so. 20 degrees apparently all night.
Good grief. Well, hopefully we'll catch up with them in Aviemore, perhaps have a chat with them and they can fill us in with the gruesome details. Well, it was good camping last night. That was quite pleasant. So, all in all, very, very good last 12 hours. And really not much more to say apart from we've just got to keep plodding on, really.
Oh, I don't mind plodding on when it's like this. Glorious.
So, it was a late start for us, 9 o'clock start. It's about 10 o'clock now. And all I can see stretched out in front of me is this lovely track, nice firm ground, and the river on our right hand side. This magnificent silence is brought to you from heaven, really. On my right hand side I've got the Mauna Lea, splattered in occasional bits of snow. On my left hand side I've got the Cairngorm Plateau, also splattered in a little bit more snow. I've got blue skies, I've got a few small clouds in the sky, and we've taken the track up from River Dolnain slightly earlier rather than the Burma Road, and I wish I could pronounce this, up to Cornforandu, I think it is, and we hope to be doing Gaelchan Beg and Gaelchan Moor, 764 metres and 824 metres, which cuts off 2/3 of the Burma Road before we head down into Aviemore. But this is absolute heaven. Now, I know days like this don't happen very often in the TGO Challenge, and possibly in many walkers' lives, where it can be beautifully clear, comfortably warm, a cool breeze, not many bugs to bother you. It's just... and silence. Total silence. No distant roar of traffic, no motorway traffic. I suppose we get the occasional aircraft flying over, but that's it. So this is the TGO Challenge on a very, very, very good day. I am taking video and pictures as I go along, and depending which comes out first, whether it's the audio podcast or the video, do check out YouTube. The video will be on there, which will show the route that we've taken, aerial views, pictures, and any video clips that I've taken during the trip to give you an idea of the landscape. But the last couple of days walking has been really, really good, and good underfoot as well as just lovely days. Anyway, we've had our 10-minute break, a couple of bars, last climb up now, and then hopefully a couple of ridges, and we're straight onto the Burma Road, all being well. Total silence.
Find out how easy it is to subscribe to all our free programmes. Visit our website at theoutdoorstation.co.uk or look us up on Facebook.
Hello, it's about 8:30 in the evening, and we've had another gorgeous day. We started off this morning eating a rather good breakfast at the Dalwhinnie Bunkhouse, another reason why it should be plugged and recommended. I think Dalwhinnie's got a bad reputation on the challenge in recent years after the experience many people had with the last owners of the main hotel. And since that's closed, there's really been very little here to attract challengers. But the Dalwhinnie Bunkhouse, been open a couple of years now, is run by a nice guy, and he has some lovely staff. He prepares very traditional homemade food, massive portions, and a good breakfast. So we started off this morning having breakfast, and some of the more adventurous members of our party, including Caborn, for those who know him, strolled off on some ridiculously long route. Others lingered a bit more, and Humphrey and I made our way up together out of Dalwhinnie, following the aqueduct, and then into the mountains, and nipped through, did a bit of bushwhacking over some heather, nipped through a strange little wood to basically the approach road to Gayak Lodge. We took a small track towards the Mini Gaig, and we've camped tonight in a beautiful spot down near the river, lovely grassy pitch. We pitched about 6 o'clock, so we've had, a fair amount of time to enjoy the evening. The site also has a good line of the sun, so as I speak, 8:30, the sun is still beaming through the fabric of the tent. And we gently ambled on, I suppose, today. Gorgeous sunshine, most of it, tempered by a little gentle hill wind, which is kind of what you want. And we renewed our project from a few years ago, which was the TGO Challenge Murder Mystery. And we've had such a profitable day today that we've basically sketched out the plot. And so now we just have to fill in the details of characters and the whole set of things. But that would be giving too much away, so I'll leave it for the future to talk about that one. Anyway, so we're kind of in a place that we think our day tomorrow, our planned day, which was up the Mini Gaig and then along the Tarf, is too much of a stretch. And the main reason I think that is because we took this route to avoid a route that had a lot of waterfalls in it, and the grip, which I think I've said already, on my shoes just isn't good enough in mud to give me the confidence. And in fact, today, walking over a kind of steep, high path through heather, we got to one bit where the path consisted of loose stones and chippings at quite an angle, and I really didn't have the confidence that the shoes could hold it. They are absolutely brilliant shoes for wearing on a trail, as it were. But for this kind of cross-country stuff, I'm not sure. So I've lost my confidence in them a bit. So tomorrow we're going to stick to a route that doesn't have any snow and doesn't have any other obstacles that I can kill myself on. Now, that might sound a bit wimpish, but one thing you always have to realise on the challenge is that safety, your own safety, is pretty paramount. So when I was walking on my own for 2 days and descended into that very horrible, messy, boggy place that I talked about, and landed in the mud, dumps unceremoniously about 4 times. Even I, after about 4 times, begin to think, actually, you might just have been very lucky landing in the mud. So what's happened is that I've taken more time walking through muddy ground, particularly on muddy descents, and that's inevitably slowed up progress, which is a bit annoying, really. So we're going to take a more direct route tomorrow, down to Glenfeshie, around to somewhere around White Bridge, camp there the night, and that just means we'll be into Braemar reasonably early on Saturday morning, pick up the newspapers, go and have a good breakfast in the old bakery, and all will be well with the world. Anyway, so that's our day today, and so we'll speak to you tomorrow, and I guess tomorrow I'll start to review some of the gear I'm using and just comment on its effectiveness, other than the shoes, of course. So I'll speak to you then.
Join us next time as the journey across Scotland continues on the TGO Challenge. Thank you for listening to this podcast. To hear more from our extensive free library, please visit the website at theoutdoorstation.co.uk.